Hello, all, and welcome back to the Ageless Factor with Alita St. James. Alita is a world-renowned master energy healer and intuitive life coach. She made international headlines in 2004 for giving birth to twins at the age of 57 and is the successful author of Life Shift, Let Go, and Live Your Dreams. In the Ageless Factor, she will introduce you to amazing people she has met along the way. Here you will learn Alita's secrets to ageless living with some of the most highly esteemed professionals in the psycho-spiritual world. So welcome back, and stay tuned for yet another episode of The Ageless Factor with Alita St. James.
Hi everyone, Alita St. James here in The Ageless Factor. This is the second series of my podcast. Anyway, it's me by myself talking to you about the synchronicities of life. As I'm writing my book, which is my memoirs called Out of the Box, A Journey of Transformation and Empowerment, I'm realizing that there is a synchronicity between the moment I was born or conceived with everything that's happened to me up to this point of my life, which I'm looking at turning 77 in November. The interesting part is that Wayne Dyer, who endorsed my book, Life Shift, Let Go and Live Your Dream, which I recommend that everybody gets a copy of. I found out recently it's a nationwide bestseller and that it's definitely transformed thousands of people's lives at this point, which I'm so happy for. And I've been told that it's on the bedside of people and they have little markers in it to remind them of the different things they want to remember. I also tell them to ask the book a question every day, like, what do I need to know today? And sure enough, the wisdom that comes flying off the pages is amazing. It's always right on. So I really support you. You can get it on Amazon, Life Shift, Let Go and Live Your Dream. And it's going to make a big impact in your life, especially when you're looking at agelessness, because you want to constantly reinvent yourself. You want to have dreams, goals, desires, and follow your destiny so that you're always excited about life. I mean, I must say for right now, even though I have a deadline in my second book, it's energizing when I have to write my chapters in between my clients, in between the bird, in between my twins and my son's girlfriend, Fallon, and the dog and everything else that's in my life. That stress, that kind of going back over the annals of my life from conception until now is fascinating. I'm sure that at a certain age, you kind of like forget different people that you were connected to or different things you went through. But I'm going to support you in kind of going over your own book in your own chronological order of, wow, what happened when I was in grade school and then I changed and then I went into high school, and then college or not college, or got married, got engaged, the different relationships I have. Because when you do that, then you can kind of see a pattern of how one thing led to another, led to another, led to another. And the things that didn't work out in your life weren't meant to work out. So the detours led to the destinations. And even if you didn't know at the time, like, oh my God, I wanted to go to college or I wanted to marry this particular person or go here or there, because you didn't, and there was like a detour in your life, it wound up being a million times better for you, something you couldn't possibly have imagined going in your linear projection. So Wayne Dyer, who endorsed my book, he worked for Hay House. He was under that community of Hay House, and they published all his books and all the people that are in that community. I had gone to hear him speak. I had the parts of my book that were already finished, and it wasn't published yet. And I waited online after his talk, and I handed him the book. And I said, hi, Wayne. I was the woman that gave birth to twins at 57. Would you just look at the galleys of my book and read it and tell me what you think? And he read it in one night, and he called me back, and he said, Alita, this is amazing. And he wound up endorsing the book, which was grander than my expectations at the particular time. Because he said, our work is very much in affinity with each other, and I really endorse you reading her book. That was God sent to me. But the thing is that we had a conversation after that, and he had written like 40 books, and he had 21 bestsellers. The man was prolific. And he said, you know what? I don't think I have another book in me. And I said, all right, well, you've done quite a bit. He said, yeah, I have. Next day, he wakes up, boing, light bulb goes off, and he starts writing a book called I Can See Clearly Now, which has a lot to do with him going back from the beginning of his beginnings, his birth, all the way through all the different things that he went through and did. And he saw that there was a connectedness, a synchronicity from one event to the next that led him to where he was at the particular time. I believe he was like 72, 73 when he was writing this book. And it was a huge book. It's like that big, if you get it. And it was fascinating in terms of how one event led to another. And as I'm writing my book, I'm seeing that whole thing being revealed to me. In fact, when I go to sleep at night, I get these flashes of my childhood and how this thing led to that and that thing led to that and how I needed to put it in the book, more so than I've ever done before. And I've written my other book, Life Shift, and film scripts and plays, and I never had that happen before. But it's almost like a Rolodex of all the different events that led to the next event, that led to the next event. And then what happens when you start to look at your life from that kind of tapestry, you realize that why stress about things? You know, let go, let God. Keep your intention up for what you want to happen, but then you have to put it in the hands of a higher power to be able to watch it unfold. In my work, and I really, really support you in doing a lot of light work, the frequencies of color have a lot to do with the 5th and 7th and even 12th dimensions, which then means that you're going past the projections of your birth, your DNA, the family of origin, how you were brought up in the whatever family environment, and your past lives even, and you're going, what else is possible in a reality where there's no limitation? So even if you're in your 60s or your 50s, and I say this through all the podcasts and every single talk that I do when it comes to the Ageless Factor, living out of the box, is never decide that this is how you should be at a certain age. Never buy into the commercials or what other people have said. Never say, oh, I've got some pain in my knees or this and that. I guess I'm getting old. If that comes out of your mouth, say cancel, cancel, cancel. That's a good way to negate it. Or 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, stop, stop, stop. Whatever you need to do to know it. And then go, what else is possible? Health. Getting over my challenges of aging. I mean, we were only supposed to add, 20, 25 was old when we're down in the Shakespeare period. I mean, a woman, I think Kate, they were talking about Kate, and she was old Kate, and she was only, I think, 12 or 14. You were supposed to have children at a very young age, and I don't ever think you got past and into grandmahood. But things are different right now. We have a technology where you can detox all the cells that are basically creating aging and all the toxic material that we take in with the environment that we're in, with the foods that we eat and the choices that we make. And once you detox that, then you can start to regenerate your physical body. And within that, there's also things like exosomes and stem cells and NAD+ and glutathione that you can take to really keep energizing your physical being. Peptides are going to be the next medicine for sure because they regenerate your physical being. So the context of how you were brought up you're looking at your grandparents, especially if you're in the 50, 60, 70, 80-year-old range, even 90, was really old. Not anymore. So I always support thinking about reverse aging, thinking about you're going to be in a new technology. And if you have a lot of wisdom and knowledge and you don't want to waste it, they said, waste it on the young, you can regenerate yourself and have a lot to give to your own life, but the lives of others. It's taken me many, many years to really understand what I've written in my past, in my book, in all the different kind of things, journals that I've written for other people, my website. I've been prolific in terms of distributing information about higher consciousness and transformation. And now, going into 77, I'm finally really understanding how to create this in people's matrix, in their physical being, in their emotional body, in their mental body, so that we can integrate it with the light into the spiritual body. That's profound for me. So why would I want to decide to leave? No, I've just begun. So the same thing with relationships. I was talking to my friend Gail in the podcast that you're going to see, and it's really fun because she brings out the fun in me. Is that, they have gap dating now, where a woman can be in her 70s, and that's fine because a lot of young men that don't want to have children or have been divorced and already have their children are looking to connect with a woman who looks beautiful. She's got a great lifestyle. She has her own money. She's independent, and it becomes a lot more fun for them. And so they're kind of interested, I'd like to date that woman. I'd like to see if I can create a relationship with her. And usually that happened before with men and younger women. Now it's reversing. So we're taking the old paradigm and we're going forward. Now, if you look at the relationships you've had in your life, how one relationship led to the other, led to the other, led to the other, perhaps into a marriage, into children, into a certain family, again, you can see how these things have a connection, a synchronicity. And with that synchronicity comes an amazing kind of peace and relaxation that, wow, there's a path here. Now I can elevate the path and move from a consciousness of struggling, always having to work, always having to prove myself. I can do that. I can move past that into a reality where I get the support for different things that I want to do. And in my relationship, male, female, could be anyone's relationship, same gender, it's like, how can we co-create together? So it's not like the feminine serves the masculine, which is the old patriarchal model. Then you don't want the whole, woman's lib, which is I am totally independent and I don't need anything from any man and he should be subservient to my needs. That doesn't work either. You have to have a nice blend of yin and yang. So it's not like you give up your power to be controlled, but you work in a partnership of co-creation. So if you're in your 60s or your 70s, your 50s, you're not over at this particular point when it comes to having a relationship. No, you can co-create and start to do that yourself with a partner that you're really excited about, and he or she can be excited about you. Why not? Always ask yourselves, I'm not dead yet. What else is possible? And then the law of magnetic attraction works fabulously at any age. So you keep in your mind what you want to create. You clear out all the subconscious knows you can't, this isn't happening, this is impossible, etc. You use my phrase. If somebody tells me I can't do something, I say, just watch me, which is my mantra for my whole life, which you will read in the book, that anything is possible. And then you feel like you're in that place where you're deserving it. You're in alignment with it. You relate to it. You resonate towards it. Resonation is a big word right now. I've been using it for years. It's coming up. You have to resonate to what you want. In Life Shift, I talk about Reverend Ike. He was up in Harlem, great minister, and he would preach and say, if you see a pink Cadillac coming down the street, you want that, you say, that's for me. You don't feel like, oh, I can't have that pink Cadillac. I don't have enough money, poor me. No, you say, that's for me. The same thing when I was pregnant and I had some miscarriages and I had to get some cysts out of my uterus so that I could carry the babies. After my first failed in vitro, I was in the hospital and they said, you can't, don't walk down that. That's the maternity place. So the babies are born. And I went, that's exactly where I want to walk into. I want to embrace those babies. I want to embrace motherhood and say, that's for me. That's where I'm going. So if you have a setback, and this is what I'm realizing in the book, I've overcome so many obstacles and setbacks that have pushed me to a higher level, and I keep doing that in my life. The fact of the matter is, don't stop. If for some reason you have some physical ailment as you're getting older, find a way to get around it. Go into holistic answers to get around it. Because I'm not saying don't take medication, but a lot of times you'll find that the medication has a side effect that really deteriorates your body. The trade-off isn't worth it. Whereas you can look at holistic ways of handling high blood pressure, joint pain, even supporting breast cancer, if you've had that, like other supplements that could help you stay healthy so that you don't have a reoccurrence, along with getting your mammograms, along with getting your blood work tested, seeing what your inflammation markers are or your tumor markers are, because they will indicate what's going on with your body, keeping your inflammation at a low point, because inflammation is a thing that creates deterioration, creates aging, stops fertility. It's a horrible situation that goes on within our bodies that we've never really had before when we were eating clean, off the land. Now with all the stuff that's going on, it's really heavy duty in terms of inflammation. And worse than ever, there is the brain-gut connection. If you're finding that you can't remember things, moving into dementia and Alzheimer's, it's inflammation in the brain. And inflammation in the brain many times comes from inflammation in the gut. And that's your elimination. And that's your ability to detox. And you want that gut-brain connection to be working in harmony with each other. So as there's synchronicity within the matrix of your life, your whole body is electromagnetic. And if you get into trace minerals and electromagnetic energy moving through your body so nothing is blocked, every part of your body communicates with each other. It's like highly intelligent. Your liver communicates with your kidneys, communicates with your gallbladder, communicates with your heart center. Your vagus nerve communicates with all your nervous system. Your eyes and your brain are communicating with each other. If you can get into working with a chiropractor, acupuncture, myself, you can actually connect to that matrix of communication with all the different parts of your body. And then you get that sense of aging backwards. So people will look at me and say, oh my God, Alita, you're getting younger and younger every time I see you. Well, I've been doing a lot of work on myself to do that. I've been detoxing, taking my supplements, leveling up on my consciousness, and getting energized by writing my book, doing my speaking engagements, helping my children, dealing with my pets. Because, you know, when kids say, oh, please, Mommy, get me pets, you know that that's the kiss of death, because the only one who takes care of the pets is Mommy. I learned that early on in the whole game here. But my point is that keeps me young. So when people were saying, and I've said this a few million times and I'll say it again, what are you going to look like when your kids are 18, 19 and you're in your 70s? And I always said, better than I do now. And you know what? I do. And I have as much energy as I've ever had. Because people will say to me, you're unstoppable. You just keep going. I do. But I do the work to do that. I clear out the emotional blocks. I don't stay, if I have a trauma or I get upset about something or something isn't working out, I don't get stuck in there. I have the tools to be able to move that energy and move into clearing it and then recreating something that's in a positive vein into what else is possible, and then holding that intention so that that starts to work in my favor. So you're never stuck in the disappointment and the resentment and why didn't this happen? All that. That is the low beta brain. We want to move into the alpha and the theta brain, which keeps you young and resilient. Now, the 100 Club, when I was doing a radio interview, when the kids were just born and I was promoting my book, I said, I'm going to live to 120. And he said, oh, great. Then you have to join the 120 Club. And I was kind of like shocked because I had never heard about that before. And he said, oh, yeah, it's in the Bible, 120. I said, really? And he said, yeah, and I'm part of the 120 Club. He said, you mean there's other people on the planet here that are going to live to 120? And he said, absolutely. So I researched it, and sure enough, I wasn't the only one on the block. In fact, now 150 is considered the next horizon. That's in the astrological charts, or different people are saying 150. I don't know if I want to go to 150, but it's out there. So my point is, if you just want to live to 100, 110, 100 and whatever, it doesn't matter. But you want to live healthy. You want to live where your body is supporting yourself. You don't want to live in dementia and decrepitude. You don't have to. But you need to work on yourself. You need to take the right supplements. You need to find out what's not working properly. Work with people like myself to see what blocks you're holding on to that's making you feel hopeless and not good about yourself and not having that sense of self-esteem and holding on to maybe things that you feel you failed in your life when you weren't failing at all. It just wasn't meant to be. You know, often we're programmed to say, oh, this is how you're supposed to live. This is who you're supposed to marry. This is the career you're supposed to have. And if it doesn't happen, we can feel like, oh, I failed my parents. I failed myself. I failed my family. And rather than this is who I'm supposed to be, I manifested my authentic self. So the more you live out of your authentic self, the better and stronger you are. Now, maybe you're at an age where you're 60 and you've been following the rules of what you're supposed to be all these years. You can ask yourself, what would it be for me to be my authentic self? I would do this. I would not care about that. I would go on a vacation when I wanted. I would have a conversation with my partner about certain things I'm not happy about. Whatever it is, speak from your authentic voice. Because when you do, and you get that internal sense of self-appreciation, gratitude, self-confidence, then you're not afraid to speak your mind. And you want to feel like at any age, you are as young and vital as your intentions about living, your excitement about living, your ability to recreate yourself. That's what keeps you excited. That's what keeps your voice young. That's what keeps your actions young. And that's what keeps you out of the hospital. So I just want you to kind of look over, how is my life like a synchronicity of one experience after the next? How does one blend into the next? What is that telling me about how everything seems to be mapped out here if I follow it? And what can I do in this part of my life to do the things that I didn't do before and really get a stronger sense of myself and my voice and what I want to create? And then ask those questions. And when you ask those questions, things start to come to you. And then what you want to do from there is live every day of your life like it's a miracle and it's a blessing and it's a gift. There's a saying that says, don't die with your music in you that you haven't expressed. On that time, that basic time where it's time for you to say, I'm making my transition out of here, I want you to make your transition with a feeling of, you know what? I did everything I wanted to do. I had the best life ever, and I'm ready to explore a new adventure. So I'll never forget my mom, and we had a very good understanding about the transition of death and the different opportunities that creates. And 3 weeks after she passed, I was meditating and I was feeling a little bit sad because I missed her, because we used to talk a lot on the phone, and she was like my best friend for many, many years and continued to be so. And she came to me telepathically, because when people have passed on the other side, they can do that. And I was open to it. And she said, why are you so sad, Alita? And I said, well, you're not here, for starters. And she said, don't worry, you're free now. And I'm free to go and do what I want to do. And then it hit me, whoa, sure, she made an agreement to have myself, my brother Curtis, who's forming the Guardian Angels and is running for mayor again in New York City, which is a big job, and my sister Maria, who's an advocate for those who are underprivileged or fighting for their rights, and she's a professor of journalism and a PR agent for people that are out there and really fighting for a better life. My mother had her hands full, but she's off, right? She's finished with that responsibility. You know, my brother got shot 5 times. She's over that one, right? So now she's free, and she said, we'll see each other again. And I said, well, that's easy for you to say. You're in another dimension. That could be another 200 years. She said, no. She said, don't worry. We'll see each other again. So I want you to think about that in terms of people that have passed in your life, and maybe a spouse that's close to you that might be at that point, or even in your own transition, that it's just another level of letting go and freedom and experiencing a different dimension and experiencing a different way of being without the body, without the emotions, but in spirit. And that you can be as wonderful and as expansive in that dimension, which creates a whole different series of opportunities, as a third dimension, which presents a whole series of opportunities to evolve and to understand about who you are and to really grab that power, that spiritual energy inside of your physical body and really start to come from that place, because that's your regenerative power. That's the thing that heals. That's the thing that will keep you alive for as long as your soul deems for you to be on this planet. So think about those things and go back, journal, incorporate the tips that I'm giving you in this podcast, and you will find that there's a major difference in your life in terms of your perspective, and you're feeling energized every single day when you get up and say, what else can I create? What other miracles are going to show up today in my life? And who can I love, and who can I give to, and who can I receive back from? Because your ability to relax, allow, and receive your intentions and your deepest dreams and desires, along with your destiny, is a key to longevity and happiness in your life. So I'm going to close with those thoughts and my love and blessings to you on your journey to our next podcast, Alita St. James. Hi, everyone. If you've watched this podcast and you feel a transformational shift, I would love for you to subscribe and join our spiritual energy group, and also share it with your friends. I'm also on Instagram, Alita_St. James, and all the other platforms like Facebook and Twitter and even TikTok, believe it or not, at my age, and spread the Ageless Factor. My love and blessings to you, Alita St. James.